In this video, I'll show you how to create a report from scratch here with Power BI Desktop. What you are seeing right now in the screen, it's Power BI Desktop. Actually, this is the main UI when you open Power BI Desktop. Here you have a blank page. When you have to start to create your report, you need to grab data. So most of the time, the first thing that you will do, you will click here on this button, Get Data. So when you click on Get Data, you will get the main connectors. At any time, for sure, you can click here on More if you are looking for something specific. So for instance, if I click on More, you can see here the list of all the connectors we have out of the box. And of course, you can choose here by topics. So in this case, for this tutorial, I will show you how to grab information from a website. So here, this is a Wikipedia page about the Rolling Stone tour, European tour for 1917. So the thing that you have to do is just to copy the URL here. So copy it, go back in Power BI Desktop, click on Get Data, and click on Web. So click here and just paste the link and click OK. Then the connector will try to parse the page, and it will propose you some table, some section actually on the web page. So just check here in the preview the kind of data you have. So for this demo, table 1 should be good. So check this table, and as you need to do some transformations, click on Transform Data button. So click on it. And then, and be careful, here now you switch in another window. This one, now it's called Power Query Editor. It's here in this place where you will prepare and shape your data. So by default, here on the query section, you will get a table called Table 1. You can rename the table here, and you can also rename the table right over there. So here, call it Tour 1970. So as you can see here on the main section, it's the table. So you can see that the header columns are not really good. But at a glance, you can also see, hey, on the row number 1 here, you have something that can act as a header. So it could be a good idea to promote the first line as a header. To do that, here you have a button. Click on this one, and here you have several options. One of them, very famous, it's to use the first row as a header. So click on this button and click on Use First Row as Headers. Right now, you've got the header on the right place. So now let's continue to fix and to clean the data. You can see some null value right over there. So in this case, it could make sense to double check the web page. And actually, we are just grabbing the information from this table. And you can see here, for instance, that we have 3 dates here for Paris. The same 3 dates are for France, and all these 3 dates are for the same venue. Now, if we have a look on West Germany, on the same country, we are for 4 dates, 4 cities, 4 venue. But for Denmark, we have 3 dates, 1 in this city 2 in this city, and we have 2 venues for sure. So it means if we have a look now, go back to Power Query Editor, it means that for Copenhagen, maybe we have 2 dates, this one and this one. Paris, we have 3 dates, this one and this one. It means that all the null should be the same value at the one above. So what you can do, you can select the 3 columns, because it's actually here the same pattern. So you can use the Control key on your keyboard and click the columns, or you can select the first one, go at the end of the selection, and with the Shift key, press and hold the Shift key, and click on the left button of your mouse, and boom, you can select the 3 columns. Then here in the ribbon, you've got the Transform tab. Click on it. And here you will have several options to transform your data. What we need here is the fill one. So click on fill, and here we would like to fill down. So click on fill down, and right now we replace the null value with the value for the city, the country, and the venue. So now we still need to fix something. If you have a closer look on the date, you can see that we have here an issue. Actually, in the same cell, we've got date and number of show. It's like of mixing bananas and palados, for instance. So we need to fix that. What you can do, you can fix about the pattern to isolate data. So here in this case, you can do a right click on the header, this column, replace values, and why not to try something. So we like to deal with information about 2 shows. What you can do, you can replace the value with space 2 shows. So what I did, actually I added a space here. And click OK. Now we have a command separator space here. So on the header column, right click on date. And what you can do is split column by delimiter, for instance. As you can see, you have several options, but here in this case, we will use split column by delimiter. Here you can set up how you want to split your column. In our case, we'll go with this one and with the space delimiter. Of course, you can select another delimiter if needed, and you can also use a custom one. But in our case, space, it's a good one, and Power BI Query Editor already proposed the right one. So now click OK, and boom, we have now more columns. I know the aim here is to clean the data. And here it's a little bit more the mess than the beginning. So we have to fix that. This column, I think we don't need this one. So what you can do, you can right click on the column header and click remove. This one, date.4. It seems it's a useless column, but if you have a closer look, you can see here the number 2. It means that on this date for Milan, we have 2 shows on the same day. Actually, it means the null value, it's because we have only 1 show for this date, because we have no information in the original table. So what you can do, you can right click on null, for instance, click on replace values, and replace null by 1. And now we have number of shows. So what you can do, you can rename the column here. You notice here the column type. Here it means a decimal number. In our case, it's more a whole number. So change the type. And now you can see the type, it's the word number right over there. So now we need to deal with the date. So we have days, months, and year. But if you have closer look on year, here we still have an issue. Again, what you can do here, you can right click on the cell, replace values, and replace here the open parentheses by nothing. Click OK, and now it's clean. Now we can stay like this, and we can rename the column days, months, and year, but it could be a good idea to create a date column. So we can use these 3 columns. Again, you can select these 3 columns like this with the shift, you hold shift key and you click on the first one, on the last one of the selection. And you can select the column one by one, of course, with control key. And then be sure that you have selected the 3 columns, right click somewhere on the header and click merge columns. So now what you can do, you can decide which separator you would like to add. So here you can go on custom, add a separator for the date, and it's optional, but it's a good idea to do that right now. You can rename, you can give a name to the new column. Click OK, and boom, now we have merged the new column. Be careful because the selection is still there. Okay, so click on the column or outside the selection. Now we have a date, but it's still a text type. So what we can do, right click here again on the column header and change type and go for date. Okay, and we should get an error. You can see here error, but you can also see here the red color, because here behind the scene we have data quality view. You can have more information. Here you already have it, but if you don't have it, go on view, and here you can have the information. Okay, so here I've got some error. The thing is because I used the wrong separator. What you can do, and that it's an important part on the right of the screen, the third one, and we don't talk about it yet, it's the step section. Actually, the issue certainly appear here during the merge step. So what you can do, you can go in the past, for instance. You can rewind each steps to bring correction. And you can also click on the gear button right here if you want to change something. So let's imagine you go here, and we can change by the right separator. And now if I switch back to the last step, boom, we've got the date. And here it's a date 1 because we have a calendar right over there. So now we should be good. So let's click on apply and close button. On the home tab, you click here. And now let's import the data in Power BI Desktop. Here we go. So now we switch back to the main interface of Power BI Desktop. We are here in the report section, report view. And on the right here, you've got your data. It's why it's super important to rename the column, especially in Power Query Editor, because this is the column that you will expose to your business users. Behind the scene, this is what we call the semantic model. So what you can do quickly is to create your first report. So you can click on country. And automatically, it will detect this is geographical information. So it will put the country on the right place. That it's working because I have internet connection. You can also add the number of shows like this. And why not to add information about venue? So click on the blank space. Here, by default, you get a table and number of shows. Then be sure that you select this table, and you can pick a visual from the out-of-the-box section here, out-of-the-box visual from the visualization section. So you can try some visualization, the one you would like to add. So as quickly like this, as simple like this, you can add some, change the visualization. Of course, we don't use the pie right here because it's difficult to read. So try to find this one. But actually, for this tutorial, I will pick this one, the tree map. It's like the pie chart. It's not super easy to read right now. You can also add more information here. For instance, you can add here the country as a details. Now you can see the country information here. At the glance, you can see that there are more shows here on Palais des Sports of Paris in France. You can also add more information if needed in this visualization by clicking here on the format button, and you can choose what you would like to display. For instance, the data label, to add the data right over there. The things now, you can click on the country and you can see that each visuals can interact between together. But here maybe it's not a good idea to have a kind of highlight that you can see right over there. If you go on Format tab, the Format tab, you can see here a button called Edit Interaction. Click on this button. Select the visual that will have to filter the another ones. And then now when you click on Edit Interaction, you can see on other visual a new icons right over there. Here the aim is when I click somewhere on the map, I don't want to have highlight, I want to have filter action. So click on filter. And now, as you can see, you will get the information only for this constraint, the countries. It's not a highlight as by default, it's a filter. And now it's easier to read. Okay. And of course, you can then do the same for this visual. If I click on this visual, I can see the same here on the map. But here I have less options. It's only filter or nothing. So now let's add a new information here. So for instance, we like to have more detailed information. So we can use your card in which you can add country, city, date. So you can see here a date symbol because I define the column as a date type. But here maybe I don't want to have these things, the details. So I can go back here and ask to just add the date. Okay, so let me do that again. Click on the arrow here on date. So you have to click here and here to change if you only want to have the date instead of hierarchy. So click on date and boom, you've got this. And you can add the venue and the number of shows. So now if I click on the country, boom, I can have also a detail. So here, this is your first report. What you can do too, you can improve a little bit this report because we have also the city information. So here, if I go back on the map, so click on the map, be sure that you select the map. You can drag and drop the city just right under country to build a kind of hierarchy on the fly. And by doing that, another option just appear here. So for instance, you can click on this arrow and click on the specific country. And now we can drill up to the cities. And if you click now on the city, nothing happens. It's because here, the drill down option is still on. If you want to have the filter behavior back, uncheck this one, and here, boom, you have the filter back. So of course, you can go up by clicking, you can drill up by clicking this button. So this is the first report for 1970. But the cool thing, if we go back here to the Wikipedia page, and if you change the date, you have another article with the data. So why not to imagine to have something to grab this information automatically, for instance. So go back to Power BI Desktop and go back to Query Editor by clicking Transform Data. Click on Transform Data. So what you can do here, you can copy this query, for instance. So right-click on this one, and you have an option to duplicate. Duplicate the query, you will have exactly the same thing, the same transformation, all the stuff. Here, you can see reference. Reference, actually, you will get only the final step as a source for the new query. It means that you will inherit all the transformation done, and the new table the starting point on the new table will be the output of this query. But here we will have to duplicate because we need to keep all the transformation, but we need to change the source. So if I go back here in the past and go back in the source, I can click on the gear right over there and change the date to 66. Click OK. Go back to the last step and boom, I've got the information for 1966. What you can do too, you can also click on Advanced Editor to behind the scene see the code. This is what we call the M script. And I can change the date right over there. So if I want to go back here to 70, click down, and boom, now I have the information back from 70. But we can do things a little bit more clever. Again, if you go back to Advanced Editor, you can copy all the script. And of course, you can paste it in another Power BI Desktop report, and you will get this information. If you want to copy, paste information between two reports, it's doable too. In certain situations, it could be useful. So click Cancel, but we have the code. And what you can do, you can now click on Source, New Source, and Blank Query. And in Blank Query, you will get a blank query. What you can do here, so select the query one, we will rename it this one after that, after a few minutes, and you can click on Advanced Editor. So in Advanced Editor, remove all these things and just paste your M script. But we will change that a little bit because it could be a good idea to have the year as a parameter. So here, on the left of let, click on Enter, add a line at the beginning, open parentheses, and type, for instance, year as text, and add an arrow like this. So now we just add the year as text, and we're just creating a function like this. What you need to do, it's maybe to remove the year here, and to create a concatenation with the new parameter you just created earlier. And you should get something like this. Now, if I click on done, I will get something like this. Rename the query, for instance, get info tour, and we can test it. So now if I click 1966, click invoke, boom, I've got my table. That is cool. But we can do something even better. Here you can click on enter data. Click here. Column 1, rename the column 1, double click on the column 1 and call it year or years, for instance. You don't it's not have to be the same name as the parameters. So here give some year. Could be here, this one because I know this article exists, and of course the last one, 1970, and call the table tour year, and click OK. And now we've got a new table. From here, now you can go on Add Column tab and click Invoke Custom Function. Click on Invoke Custom Function. Give a new column name to info, for instance. Pick the query, so get info tour, and here it will ask you for the parameter. The things here, if you click on this button, you can choose to enter something manual or pick a column name on the table. So here you can pick the years and click OK, and we should get an error. Yes, we have an error. Why? Because if you go back to the function, you can see we define year as text. If you go back here on the tour years, we can see the type of the years column, it's a number. So you can go back here on your steps, go on the change type, actually the issue is there. Right click on the column, change type, and text. It will ask you to insert a step. Click insert, and then it will detect the step exists, and it asks you to replace current. Yes, do that because we don't have extra step just to change the type 2 times. Now it's text. Go back here on the last step, on this one, and here we have go. We have got the tables. So what you can do, and don't miss it, you can click on this icon to expand the table. You can click on load more in case you have more columns, but in this case you don't have to do that. And uncheck this box just to avoid to have a prefix on the name, and click OK. And now boom, we have the information for all the years, 66, 67, 70. But remember, we already have a report here, and maybe we don't want to lose the report. So what you can do, you can inject the data in the existing table. But be careful, we already have information about 70. So what you can do, you can go back here on 2 years, filter your data, so click on this arrow right over there. Remove 70, click OK. And actually, as we don't need this column anymore, we can remove it. Okay, so now add the data to the existing query. because we like to keep all the visual we did on the same query. And here in home, you've got here a combine, and we like to append queries. We like to add more rows in this existing table. So click here, and you want to append queries. You don't want to create a new one, you want to append to the existing table. So click append queries. It's two tables, so you will like to append 2 years on the existing one. Click OK, and boom, you got it. So apply on close to apply now the new data in the existing data set. If the things go well, I should get an error. Here we go. So when you've got errors, don't click on fix it. First, click on see details. It seems something wrong with one or more fields, and one of them is number of show. Okay, go back to transform data to switch back to query editor. And if you check the type here, you can see that it's a wrong one. Actually, it doesn't know if it's a text, number, or whatever. You can do things manually one by one to define type, date, and so on. But what you can do too, you can go on Transform tab and ask to detect data type. So let's click on it. And if you have a look, date seems good. Number of show, maybe not. So what you can do, you can go here, change type, and whole number. And what you can do, you can select all of 3 and change the type to define text. Now, if I go back here and apply on close, I hope my report will be fixed. And here we go. So I should do something better. So now go back again to transform data. First, rename this one to tour all dates, for instance. And remove this one because this one is also exposed to my business user in the semantic model, so we don't need this one anymore. So remove it. Okay, this one you don't need it. Remove it. But we still need this one. But we don't want to expose this one to the semantic model. So right click on it and uncheck enable load. And the name should change to italic. And click close and apply again. And as you can see here, the data will disappear. Now the name is changed and it's much better. So as now we have several years, we can create a place here, go on date, and one node to pick year, and create a slicer on the date. And now you will be able to pick the date here from the selection you would like to analyze from the tool. So this is for this tutorial to create your first report, and thank you for watching this video.